What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Conversation Piece, the podcast about the missing pieces of the conversations we're already having right here in Indianapolis. My name is Patrick. I am your host, and I am so excited about this conversation that we're going to have today. First off, I appreciate y'all being here with us in 2024, the year of the nap. We're coming to a close. We have some really incredible episodes coming up, and I can't wait to share those with you. But first, we have to get to my guest today. My guest today is an artist who specializes in cartoon, acrylic, oil, character design, digital design, and a whole lot more. Born and bred from this little big city we call Naptown, you've probably seen his work in various galleries and showcases across Indianapolis, whether it be his individual work or as a member of the 18 Arts Collective. Or maybe you saw his pieces at the most recent Butter Art Fair, where he also designed the characters and theme for this year's event. Anyways, I'm super excited to jump into this conversation. I have a lot of questions, so without further ado, it is my honor and privilege to welcome Shane Fitzgerald Young, a.k.a. Fitz, to the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is good, man?
Thank you for having me, Patrick, man. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. It is an, again, honor and privilege to have you here. We were talking about it before we jumped on air, but the first time we met was at Butter. Or no, it was at All-Star when you did a collaboration with St. Avenue.
For sure.
You had a drop here at the Studs.
Absolutely.
I'm wearing it right now. You can see the swag on right now. I walked in there because I had met Lasar, or I knew Lasar and I wanted to meet him, but I didn't know you. And I was looking at the stuff and I'm like, this is really cool. And then I saw you and I was like, this dude is a cool ass person. And I don't know that I should be in the same physical space as him. But you were so kind and generous and chatted with me about the art, the book of art that you had out, even though you did not know me and I probably looked really random and strange being in there. So I just want to say thank you for welcoming me with grace and kindness in our first interaction. And I feel like almost a year on from that, I'm excited to now be able to sit down with you.
No, for sure, man. Definitely always got to start with your first impression is always could be your last impression for some
That's
people,
true.
you know. So I always try to greet people how I was raised, and that's always with kindness and love first.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. I gave you a little bit of an intro, but for folks who might be watching or listening right now who don't know who you are, do you mind sharing just a little bit more about yourself?
Man, you almost covered it better than me. But I would say I'm born and raised, obviously, from Indianapolis. A little bit a part of me that isn't known as much because I'm the artist guy now. I used to play basketball. It took me about to junior college where I tore my knee and, we had to move on from that. But gratefully, basketball opened up the door to take my first couple art classes to really refine and learn the structure of art. I've been drawing all my life, but, basketball is ball is life. You know, you're 6'4", everybody telling you, dude, you're supposed to be hooping. You're supposed to be doing all this and that. So you go down the road and, for what I say worked for me is that it allowed me to see my love for art even more.
For sure.
So,
I love that. Did you think that basketball was going to be the thing until the injury?
Yeah. You couldn't have told me that after the injury. It was just kind of learning.
Okay.
I've been trying to learn and understand how things work, and I understood that basketball always had an ending point no matter what.
Sure.
So I just kind of was the one and the same where I found out, I got injured, but I can still draw.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, might be able to do this way longer than I could ever play basketball. But it was my thing, and I was really good at it. But, things happen.
Well, I want to ask about the art, and we're going to get to the art, but I got to ask, what position did you play? And I don't know. Let's tell us a little bit about the hoop career.
So, unfortunately, I grew up in a time period where if you were 6'4", you had to play like a power forward or some crazy
I know about
stuff.
that. I was 6 foot, and I had to play some power
Yeah,
forward,
exactly, man. It's like if you got a 6 foot on your number, you gotta go play on the block. So I did that for too much of my career before I actually went off and got to play in Florida, where I moved my senior year in high school. I got to play 2 guard there, and then from there in college, I played 2 guard 3.
Nice.
So
I will say that you strike me as a 2 guard.
Yeah.
Shooter or slasher?
Nah, slasher more. Okay. I think if we could jump a little higher and shoot a little better, we probably would have been able to surpass the injury. But honestly, you just kind of wait and you look at your tools that you have and you know what you're striving for. And, I picked art.
Well, like you said, the injury and basketball itself kind of help you see, oh, art can be this other thing that I can pursue. And plus, art has always been there too. Like you were playing basketball for a long time, but I read like art was kind of something that you were interested in drawing, especially like instantly. I read that Pokemon was the first cartoon that kind of piqued your interest in drawing. And then that Cartoon Network in general was what took it from drawing to artistry. So I wanted to ask you if you remembered a specific show from Cartoon Network whose art style stood out to you specifically that was like, ooh, okay, I want to move beyond just a draw to this thing.
I would say it had to be one of the two of Powerpuff Girls and Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Okay.
Those art styles, and just art direction, the lessons, the friendship values, which is why all my characters have, I guess I would say, an open world to them, because like I grew up on cartoons that literally were 5 friends or doing something in the backyard and they get a life lesson from it, you know, whatever it may be. So I would definitely say those were my key memory in cartoons that really helped me say, yo, I want to do something like this. And like I said, outside of comic books and all that other stuff, those are the cartoons that was like, you know what, how do you get something like this on TV so that, you know, maybe I can strike a kid the same way I was struck?
Yeah. You mentioned comic books. I know you're an avid comic book reader.
For sure.
You just posted about this really dope lantern ring set that you have that I was like very jealous to see. But anyways, I'm also a nerd for those things. Was the comic art also, did that supersede, or did that come first? Or were the cartoons first and then as you got into comics, did that just blend into taking drawing into artistry in that way?
For sure. It was more cartoons all the way.
Okay.
I had the TV, and I guess I'm a 93 baby, and from what I remember, I seen things on TV before the comics. But my uncle, shortly after, was like, yo, you like this, you like that. I need to show you what I did. So he started showing me Thundercats. He started showing me He-Man, like what he grew up with. And then he has a boatload of comic books. And about around, 10 years old and better, I just was reading his stuff. And it wasn't until I started making my own money in like high school and college at the end, or like at the end of high school and college, where I could start buying my own books. But yeah, it was cartoons, and then it was this comic Marvel DC world. Like, dog, cartoons is the bare minimum.
Well, and you were like, and it's fun. It's interesting because you're also talking about like the golden age a little bit, like 80s, 90s comics, like that you were getting from your uncle, which I think is interesting because those art styles, at least from my memory, are so distinctively different from what you're seeing on cartoons. For sure. And I think it's really interesting how I think in your own style, you've come to marry those things. And as we kind of get to that point, we talked about, you ended up in this art class in Florida. So can we talk a little bit about like what pushed you towards the class itself and was like that really drew your attention?
Really when I got to college, as a basketball player, a person who only focused on basketball majority of his life, my only thing when somebody asks you in the guidance room, like, yo, what do you want to do here? My only thing, I was like, yo, I like drawing. Yeah. So from there, I never knew about fine art. I was just drawing. Okay. So like I'm just pencil and that's it. I'd never had art classes. I never really understood color theory. I never understood any of these things. But since I said graphic designing, I think with some of my bag, at least drawing, my first semester of college, I took all art classes. Not a core class in sight. Not a math, I found out and after that semester how that was obviously not smart. But it worked out for me because I feel like I took from college everything I needed to kind of get me going forward. But my first semester was 2D art, or intro to 2D art. So where we learned perspective, figure drawing, like all of these things in art. Then I took printmaking. I took 3D structure. I was just art history. Yeah. I literally had 5 classes of my whole semester, all art. So really from there is really kind of what, like I said, I was always drawn, just aspiring and to draw what I like to see and like, maybe creating characters or what I think could do something one day. But it wasn't until I understand the structure of how to, make figures and how to put stuff together, how to like concepts and all of these things that I'm doing today that really wasn't a thing that I understood at the time until those art classes.
Yeah.
So
well, shout out your advisor who said, yes, take all of of these elective classes. Don't worry about any of the core classes.
No math, no English. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. Just draw.
Shout out to that person because it's setting a foundation for you to now be where you are. Absolutely. I love it. Was this, so you are experiencing art in a new way. You're picking up a lot of different skills and learning a lot, not just from the one class, but multiple classes.
For sure.
But you had already been doing your own thing.
Yeah, just
it's
drawing.
Now it's about refining.
Mm-hmm.
Had you already started to develop the quote unquote Fitz art style, the style that you have at that point? Or did it come out of some of this knowledge that you gained from the classes?
I think I definitely didn't have a style whatsoever. I will say that I think at the beginning, which I think every artist should focus on, is learning the rules. You can't break rules that you don't know. So you have to know the rules that you want to break. So like you have to, if you want to bend a figure into a toony way, you have to understand how a figure moves, and you have to even to the structure that we move. Okay. So
like the literal physical rules of physics
of art, and lighting, and you have to understand these things. So that's kind of like I said, that's kind of like what school and all those classes was able to teach me in such a short time.
Yeah, you said like structure, so it's giving you a framework to then, I guess, end up developing your own style.
Oh yeah, my fault. I was
no, you're good.
Yeah, so how I got to developing my own style, I would say, is just from experience, consistently drawing the rules and understanding and mistakes that lead me to something different. Like when you're trying to draw something so structured and you mess up, next thing you know, you're like, yo, that works for me though. You start learning, hey, this is what worked for me. So it wasn't until after I left college and I didn't learn so much information and accumulated more love for art where I started to develop, and understand what style even was. You know what I'm saying? So in the beginning, I was doing like caricature, like just drawing. I just liked to draw. I wasn't really understanding where it was going until the language was put in front of me.
Was there a particular rule that you came across that you were like, if I break this rule, now that I understand it, it's going to help me go to the next level? Because I think, I asked because I'm like, you're talking about the rules of art, and it's like, it's much more expansive, I think, than just art, which I would think about as the layman. Like, okay, it's just like, just the rules of art. But it's like, no, it's literally the rules of the world that we live in. And I feel like as just that regular person, I'm like, okay, what rules would you even want to break in order to develop that unique style?
Okay, well, I think what rules you would have to, I figure out what rules I wanted to break by really understanding where I wanted to go with the art. So like I take it back to the understanding that I wanted to do cartoon stuff. I was like, all right, they had their styles. That's what appealed to me. But like you said, like I said before, I never really understood style. Like that was just, they was just drawn, and I never knew until in hindsight, that's really what was appeasing to me. So now like I'm trying to, figure that out, but I learned you can't really force it. Right. So like I just, after innovating after time, we literally, what people think I have a style, I don't really think I have a style. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, like I said, adding experience and seeing art history and people out here, like literally every artist is just a culmination of things they saw. For sure. And then you add your perspective. Yeah. So really, I would say the rules I broke was just learning that I can't do what everybody else does. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's kind of like really what I was trying to put in such a more long, rambled out format. But the rule I broke was, it was learning that they broke the same one. don't do what everybody else is doing.
Sure.
So I would call that equivalent to learning that in the art world and in the real world.
100%.
So,
well, it's like you can be your own person.
For
you
sure.
don't need to be the next Salvador Dali. I don't know why that was the first artist name that came into my mind. But you don't have to be that next that next big name. Be the first you.
Yeah.
Like be you.
And when you study them, understand and try to understand, because they're no longer here to explain, but they left many resources of why they did the things that they did, and then understand why they did that, so that now when you go look at your art, understand why you're doing it. Are you doing it because he did it that way, or are you doing it because of how you're doing to do it? You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So like when I was in the beginning, I'll take it for instance with the painting style, Basquiat. In the beginning, I was adapting a lot of that and adapting a lot of the things that I saw and all of this stuff. I'm like, yo, I like this work, but if I was to go, y'all wouldn't be able to tell this work from the 20 other thousand people that use the style.
Sure.
And that's no disrespect, but because it's a style now, it's not no longer just his work. You feel me? He created a style in which he painted, in which I respect and love it to use the style. But now it's like you have to understand why you're doing it.
Right.
And why you're using it, not just to for lack of better terms, just throwing stuff on there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's an inspiration. It's not recreation.
Nah, exactly. So it took me, I'm speaking for myself.
For sure.
It took me to understand that I can't, copy the style. I have to understand why he's doing what he's doing and see if I can implement and how that works for me.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So taking the style or taking anybody's, like, whatever, like I said, we're all artists that just culminate stuff we seen and try to do our best interpretation to make it ours.
Yeah. I really appreciate that breakdown because first I want to start with an apology because I apologize to the viewers for seeing my gross shins. I want to apologize because I was talking about like you have your own distinct style. I totally did not think about how limiting or reductive that could be to just be like, oh, Fitz has his own style. And like, that's what he does when at the end of the day, you're an artist. And it's like, I'm not limited to a single thing.
Yeah.
Like I operate in multiple disciplines and I do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. I think Instagram specifically has showed business modules that show you if you have the right niche. This is how you can use the tool of social media to work for you and your art brand.
Okay.
However, why I started to do art was for cartoons. And then as I grow and learn art, I was like, yo, there's colors. Like, there's markers, dog. Like, there's painting. Like, I'm just, all right, now art has just been a major journey. Like, my intentions was never museums, dog. I never understood. It's like all of this stuff is being learned in real time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I love what you said about like you are learning why these artists did what they did. Like what was influencing them. And then you put your own perspective on what you are creating based on what you've now learned from the people. And I love that because I think I feel like I can feel that in your work and from the stuff that I've just heard you talk about when it comes to art as not only being this reflection of the society at large, but the individual who creates their own art. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask how your lived experience defines you as an artist. And so you kind of bring it up like, I have to infuse my own perspective on life.
For sure.
To know where I'm going to go with the art, to know where I want to take it. So I just want to ask you, like, how does Fitz's specific lived experience, like, influence what he creates, what you create?
A lot of my artwork is emotion-based. As I use the character mood. Yeah. It's more emotion-based, and that's, like, my central thing. So, and that, as I've understood as why and how I've created art in hindsight, like I said, I'm learning about how I've been creating art in real time, and I'm learning there's really a lot of emotional triggers. But my mind is heavy. We can't draw like what I'm thinking. You know, like I can't work out concepts and stuff like that when I got too much going on up here. So a lot of my art is just emotional based, and I use that as my central to connect to everybody because everybody has emotions.
Right. That's the starting point.
Yeah,
and
then everything else that's kind of bridged from that is like at different points and different moments in your life where we all gonna change. You know, I've always been community centric in understanding. Hey, I want awareness, and now it's like at the beginning point I understood awareness, and now at this point in my career, it's like I can do more than awareness.
Sure.
So like now, what does that look like? So it's just like at every point of your life, you're gonna change, and and with my medium being art, that's just how I now show how I've changed.
Sure.
Because I've always done, like I said, community centric art. You know, Black. I don't want to say Black Lives Matter specifically because of the hashtag. It's been tainted so terribly.
Sure.
But you know what I'm saying? I've always done centric work to raise awareness on issues. And at the end of the day, that's what I was trying to say. Fudge.
You good?
Nah. So that's kind of just pillared into what we look like today, like the Monopoly piece. You know what I'm saying? Like the Harlem Renaissance. Me understanding art history and like how to bring that into the world today.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where my life is right now. It's like understanding what people fought for us before, understanding where your fight lies and mimics others before you. If that makes sense. Who resembles before you what you're trying to accomplish now. You know what I'm saying? And so like now at my point in my life, I'm really just trying to fix shit around me.
Sure. Well, you're connecting dots. And like, I love this, like your storytelling and your artwork is rooted in the history of your own community. And that's situated in a larger history of just humanity itself.
For sure.
And I think that what I really love about your work is I can feel that emotion, that emotional core, that emotional center, I think, that resonates out. And I want to ask you about this, and we can cut this if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, but you have it on your stories, and I was doing research for this. I was looking at your feed, and I came across your June 2020 story about your run-in with the police when you were a senior, which precipitated having to go to Florida and like kind of kickstarting a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And so that's a very pivotal moment like in your life that is also rooted in the history of the over-policing and the violence directed specifically at the Black community in this country. How much of that like sits at that emotional center too? How much of that sits in that foundation?
Pretty much, I guess it could be the anchor of why I have always done the community-centric topics or just broad topics in general.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're being attacked from other communities, I guess it's an everybody problem. It's not just our community's issue. You know what I'm saying? So I've tried to just in today's world, just try to show everybody how can be a part of a fix and not the problem.
Right.
But I would say that part of that my life anchored the kick into like high gear of how we gonna do these things, and how serious we gonna do these things. And specifically that day, it was just it was like a big ass shit show of a misunderstanding. Right. Regardless of I don't remember exactly what I even said on the story.
Well, people can go check that out if they want to get it. Like I didn't want to. If
I don't mind getting into it because it's not like I've grown from. I'm like it's like 10 plus years ago. So I have learned to laugh about certain part of the situations and then learn and grow and not let it to define me as a person.
Right.
Like I said, the school, it was, like I said, not to, I mean, we can tell the whole story or not. I really don't mind.
They can get it from your thing. Like, I just felt like, we're talking about the whys
Mhm.
and like how the why is rooted in this history, and it also informs where you want to go with
For
your
sure.
art specifically. And it just felt like,
I think from there, realize it's more than just cartoons. I think
okay, sure.
I think cartoons is my happy way of everybody being able to understand what I'm trying to say, to convey the message in a simpler palette that
Sure.
that more so is like for kids even can see, and like, yo, you might not understand exactly what you're seeing as a kid, because I didn't, a lot of Ren and Stimpy shit I went over my head.
Sure.
So you might not see the exact imagery in which you understand, but you see the imagery, and as you grow, you'll understand exactly what I was trying to say, and hopefully a kid will just pick up off of that later.
For sure. For sure. You talked about like your work being centered in community, and like I think the butter stuff is very indicative of that. And I know that when they did the Black Lives Matter mural on Indiana Avenue, you got involved in that as well.
Of course.
I was wondering, was that the first time that you had really... Well, okay, let me ask this question first. When did you first get back to Indianapolis from Florida?
I got back, I would say 1920, around there.
Okay.
Like 20 years old, my fault. That was like, I'm 30 now, so that would be like 10 years ago.
Okay, so like 2010. Wait.
No.
What is that? What is it? 2024?
2014.
Oh, dang, dude. I ain't good at math.
I would say, it was about 20. I graduated in 2012. I would say I moved back in like 2014, 2015 area.
Okay, perfect. So the Black Lives Matter mural 20, that was like halfway through the 2020. Was that, so you'd been here for a few years. Was that the first time?
I know the exact date. 2016 is when I moved back here.
Okay, 2016. So not a ton of time back in Nap, but you were here. Was the BLM mural the first time that you had engaged in art community on a wider scale here in the city?
I mean, I've done, I would say, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing I did for the community centric thing. Like I said, I did little offshoots like T-shirts, like wearing, stuff like that. But I never, to be able to paint that slogan or for what it was trying to symbolize at the moment. Painting that that was definitely my biggest community outreach project. Did
that spur you to want to be involved in community more when it comes to creating and collaborating on art?
I wouldn't.
I guess were you already involved in 18 Art Collective and things like that?
Yeah, before? The 18 came after that. Like I met all 17 of those people out there. I didn't know any. I know 2 people, I would say, before the 18 came together.
Gotcha.
But we literally all came together after the street mural. Molly and Allen, hosted us after they, put that whole event together. They hosted us at their home. We had a lovely event, and from there we was like, yo, we love each other. We like family, you know what I'm saying? We should do something about this, and we became a collective from there. That's really kind of how that happened. But I wouldn't necessarily say more. I think my interest always in helping community is kind of like how I found out about the thing. Or even like my auntie recommended it from a newspaper article, because this is just stuff I always do. I would love to, I guess, if you're asking, I would love to organize more of that level of community outreach.
Okay.
As far as that answered the question, I haven't been able to do something of that magnitude since, I would say.
Okay. Well, that does kind of get me to where I wanted to go with this conversation from like a community perspective. So I know that your art is rooted in that. And I guess the first where I want to start is, since that happened, and I know 18 Art Collective has done a lot of really incredible things.
For sure.
How has the art community and scene in Indianapolis changed from your perspective? Has it changed? Has there been any shift, or what does that look like for you? Or from your vantage point?
My vantage point is definitely a change here. I think here in Indy, it's always a slow change. But I always think how we got here was seeing the process of change. Like I said, I was in high school, and I went to high school from freshman year to junior year. There was no art scene that
Right.
I knew of.
Sure.
Even, and like I said, I was all basketball and all of that. There could have been well worth an art scene
Sure.
that was going on. I didn't know about it. So, like I said, I've now seen that where kids can now see actual artists from Indianapolis being successful as an entrepreneur, as a brand, or whatsoever, and seeing that it's possible from here. I can tell you that I saw that at my age, so
For
I
sure.
can definitely say there's a different shift. There's a different tone and energy. Everybody here is kind of like artist-wise understands what they want to do now. It's like, or I don't mean now, but it seems like the people I know. Whether they always knew it, it just seems like everybody understands what they're trying to accomplish, and they're going to do it, and they're doing it. So it's
where
like
they know where they want to go with the
yeah,
art.
exactly. So it's like the way the art culture has changed and has fueled all of us to continue to help change it. I hope to help change it by bringing on events of next year, stuff like that. So I'm just trying to like help be a part of the change, and not only just the arts culture, but the culture in India itself. You got Mike G helping doing things. He's doing things tremendously, and it's just you got Party Graw. You got like just mad things here, Shreese. Just mad things to be nourished and to grow here. I just want to help be a part of it by adding my own 2 cents.
For sure, 100%. Do you think that? I think a conversation we've had a lot on the show, especially when it comes to arts or entrepreneurs or small business owners, has been not just the visibility of said community existing, especially for young folks to see, oh, that's something I can do because I can see someone who looks like me doing it. So that means, okay, I can accomplish that as well. It's really been like institutional investment and like the willingness to say, hey, Fitz, I love your work. We are, I don't know, Eli Lilly, like who you would not necessarily think would Fitz and Eli Lilly coming together on a collaboration. But those opportunities, I think, have seemingly opened up more in the last 4 years.
For sure.
Has that been, do you think that is there further that we can go? And are there ways that we can connect and bridge those gaps between institution and artist to make sure that those opportunities continue to be available for folks, not only who are established, but artists who are up and coming, who are looking for those opportunities?
Absolutely. I think the best way to kind of answer that, to bridge the gap between corporate and artists, I think it's just all about when corporate knows the artist or knows what's available in their own backyard.
Sure.
I think Butter was one of the best events, one of the best events that culminated an environment for everyone of corporate and artistic to sit in the same room, invest, have fun, it blended the best of the both. You know what I'm saying? So the corporate people got to see something that they didn't know was here.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to kind of like to continue that is showing what else we can do.
Yeah.
So it's like we can't me personally, if only time I can show what I can do is at Butter for this community in Indiana, I think I'm doing a disservice. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because it's all of us in there making the event. So it's like, at what point do we want to go in here and now, like, I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this, but we have to, if we want corporate to understand and respect and like I said, know what they have in their backyard, we got to show them. And if we only waiting on opportunities to show them, then they'll only be seen on that time.
Right. We have to create opportunities for ourselves as well. We have to create the opportunities. We have to make the platforms. And that's really how most business structures work. It doesn't even have to anything to do with art. No one's going to be like, hey, yo,
I like what you're doing over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, you look like a pretty cool guy. Here's a blank check for whatever you need to do.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, here's a $80,000, $100,000 investment because I see that you can paint well.
Right.
I don't have a plan. I don't have it in the business module. I don't have a team ready to implement this. Like, it's building these things and understand exactly what you're trying to accomplish. And obviously, those things are hard. Yeah. But it's you're going to pick your battle. Yeah. Like I said, I have acknowledged in my career, thankfully for Butter, how it has not only given me the platform to show up, because my career and my life, I've always believed I'm going to show up, but by the grace of God, I'm going to show up. I just need the platform. And if now I'm at a point of understanding that I've gotten the tools to create a platform. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm in that process of trying to help show not only the corporate in this backyard or in Indianapolis, but to the 49 other states.
For sure. That's a powerful internal shift.
Yeah, Butter's doing it. There's mad places doing it for the art structure and the art economy here. So I'm just trying to do my part, man. That's really it.
100%. Well, I think everything you just shared is important because, again, talking about specifically entrepreneurs and small business owners, one of the conversations that we have is that gap between available resources to help you build those structures and learn about those things. Not everybody can go to college. Not everybody can even go to junior college. Everybody can get on YouTube, but that's not always going to be the best way to learn. One of the best ways you can learn is by engaging with community, with people who are out there doing it. And I think everything that you've shared in this episode are touch points for people to get into and learn about things that might have went over their head or just not been available to them at the offset.
I think, somebody said this to me that said, what's available, because I used to believe in a pattern of that's not like put out to me or available to me. Marketing and all of these things filter certain things so that you will only see certain things if you do not take the initiative. Sure. However, you have to be in the mindset to understand, or somebody around you has to put, just like my uncle did for me for comics, somebody has to be around you to put, hey, you should look this up or look that up. So I definitely don't think information is just given to you at your fingertips. But I do, however, think we have all the resources we need. We just sometimes, I speak for myself. Yeah. I didn't listen. I learn in real time on why people this other day, I'm on, I was like, I got to get a community off of social media. We have to get off of fucking, but dog, for sure. It's like, how do you do that? And then but then I was like, I've seen everybody do it before me, and it's just starting to come into me in real time. I'm like, that's how you do it, dude. What the fuck? You literally bet. I go to, you go to go buy some clothes online. The first thing they stop you to do before you can get too far on the site, hey, just log your email in here. Yep. I want to be able to reach you at all times when I'm dropping something. Yep. Dog, I'm like, that, I didn't understand why they was doing it until now I understand why I need to have it. You know,
the email list and capture was one of the biggest.
And I'm giving out free gems right here, dog. It's like I'm thinking. I just want the 5% for the clothes, but dog, you really just. I can't get a message out to people who fuck with me because I don't control how the message. I don't control who filters the message. Right. But if I get to you, I gotta get we didn't believe in tech so much, we don't even mail to nobody no more, dog. Right. Outside of shipping them shit they bought online. How do you get a message out if people blocking your message? Well, you gotta go back to the old ways of doing things. Right. And that's email, that's outside, that's building community off of these fucking platforms that don't really want to promote you. Right. It don't even make sense how the business structure of social media is. You gotta now pay to play. It's double that now. It's like, dog, all right, y'all niggas doing too much. It took me this long to get to wherever I was. I thought 10K, I've been looking at the 10,000 followers for like 8 years. Like, dog, it looks like it's gonna be amazing when you get there. It took me mad long to get here. And it ain't shit. Right. You don't get no money for this shit. You don't get, it's really learning, dude, what you should be striving for. It's like, it's just been all ass backwards, man.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. The social media relationship is not a real relationship.
It's not.
And even an email relationship, which is digital still, is a direct relationship because you have to opt in yourself.
For sure.
And like those emails and those direct like engagements, like that's where your true community is going to come from. The people that really fuck with you, the people that are really going to invest, buy your product, buy your book, listen to your podcast. That's where the majority of your people are going to come from.
That's a
and
fact.
then when you are meeting with corporate or corporate's like, hey, we wanted to invest in you, give us your numbers. That's what they're going to look for. They're going to be like, how many people have shown up to buy or listen or do whatever.
Exactly.
At that time. And that's just the email list. Not even.
I'm telling you, man.
You know what I mean? It's just like, that's just starting with the email.
Come on, man. I get it.
And
I'm understanding now.
I love this idea of taking the community offline. I think that's what we're trying to do. It's so stupid that you also kind of have, okay, I want to build an offline community. Best way to reach as many people as possible. Let me build an Instagram account. But it's just like, okay, I love it. Let's get to this point where we're really meeting in person. Like we're really collaborating, even if it's once a month, once a quarter, whatever that looks like, finding ways to sit across from each other. And understanding, hey, we did go through a 3-year period where it was really hit or miss whether we should be sitting with each other.
Yeah.
But now we're at a point where we have vaccine, we have the ability to do those things safely and in ways that are not causing massive harm to other people. And we've been inundated because time moves so much faster now than it did before because of social media that we're constantly bombarded with this idea that we have to be online in order to be connected.
For sure.
And it creates an awareness gap for us to be like, oh, wait, we don't have to just be here. You can have an online presence, but like
it's a tool.
You can exactly.
It's not. Yeah.
But when you realize that's just one part of what you need to be utilizing to do what you want to do, then it like opens up your world to be willing to be creative, be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, do things outside of the box that you operate in.
Absolutely.
And I love it. So this idea of building community offline and collaborating together is, I think, a perfect segue to this recurring segment that we have on the show. It's called Give Them Their Flowers, where we ask our guests to shout out one or however many people that they like, that they believe deserve their flowers right now. So, Fitz, I want to ask you, who do you think, or who would you like to shout out today and give their flowers to?
You said one or two?
You can shout out however many people you want.
Give them their flowers, man. I want to give flowers to my man by Michaelangelo. Clearly, there's no way I couldn't hand him flowers. I literally have everything on by Michelangelo, man.
Yep.
His hat, he made me this. Well, obviously, I've commissioned him for this outfit, man. So this is my guy. He's one of the greatest designers I know. I give flowers to Ashley Nora. I give flowers to Amaya Mims. These are the people in our backyard. They all like at the city. I give flowers, obviously, to GangGang, and thankful for the platforms that they have provided to allow me to even get further in my career. I am thankful to the awareness that I've been blessed with in the last couple years, and definitely have not taken it for granted to make sure I've always treated it like the blessing that it is. So I'm thankful to them. I'm thankful for all people that put that event on. And let's see, flowers, man. I'll give my flowers to Maxie. For one of the leaders of the arts culture the first artist that I ever know, coming up as a young kid. Maxie was like literally Indiana's finest. It still is. So shout out to them. There's so many more names that I'm probably. I can now see when people get put in this position, how they can feel like they can leave somebody out, but. Hey, man, I think I can sum this up. My man Smurbo, he over there, another crazy designer in Indianapolis. Shout out to the city, actually. Flowers to the city. I think people need to understand that we are great. We are we might not be the best in the Midwest, because Chicago, they can hold that down from that, but we ain't far. We got all the talent here. We got all the resources we need here. We need to lean on each other more. We need to understand what we have here, and just push each other to the forefront.
Love it.
So yeah.
Shout out all of them people. Shout out everybody. Shout out to Madeline Frias Flowers for sponsoring this segment. I also want to really quickly affirm you. Shout out by Michaelangelo for this dope fit. And also for you clarifying that you commissioned this piece. Because we don't do work for free. And I think what people see on Instagram is like, oh, these dudes just trade stuff.
Nah.
That's not how it works. We invest in each other. The people that I work with who help me behind the scenes on the show, I pay them. They do not just do this for free.
Nobody
I'm
does
saying
that.
all of that to really talk to these corporate people. Let's do some work, because at the end of the day, you got to invest in the creators in the city as well. We talk about the creative economy. We talk about the people that we need to invest in, but then the people that are having that conversation are all those same people and less the creatives. And I want to, similar to what you're talking about, tap into the artists, the audio engineers, the videographers and photographers that are at all these events and figure out, I want to hear from you on these panels. Like, what do you need? How do we best support you? Same audience, but to really hear from the people that are in the mud doing the work in the city. That's where that's where your investment goes to. And those creators are creating like these pieces by day, are creating works of art that stand much longer than just the one-off payment that you might be making to those people. You're not investing just in the creator, you're investing in the city as well. I think, I'm getting on a little soapbox here, but I'm just saying, I appreciate you just clarifying commission, because it's like, nobody just does work for free here. Like, we are out, like, for all these people, it's livelihood. Like, this is why we're doing it. This is where we want to take the art, because the art is also sustaining us for people who are parents, people who have partners, people who have family members that they need to take care of. Like, it's never just the individual, though it is the individual that you see on your social medias. So
that's a fact. Just
shouting out all of those people, and also pay the people if you want that good work, because they do good work and they deserve to be compensated appropriately.
Yeah, corporate don't fuck with AI. So yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
As we get ready to wrap up here, I want to ask, you want to build more of this offline community. You want to see more of these events happening more frequently outside of that. What else do you want to see out of not just the community, the arts community in Indianapolis, but the culture itself of Indianapolis, as we continue to grow out of these really incredible things that have been happening recently? Let me add this little caveat. We're recording this on Election Day. Okay. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening in the world, a whole bunch of narratives, a whole bunch of things that people are talking about, and it's wild and scary, and it's all of these things. And I appreciate your emphasis on, it's not just arts, it's culture in general, like, that you want to be a part of and you want to keep building. So what do you want to see out of that from NAP? What do you want to see the culture of NAP drive towards here the next year, the next 5 years, whatever that looks like for you?
I think what I'd like to see from the culture here is our leaders lead. So for whoever that is, and if that's a kid today and they see this 10 years, 15, just lead. I think that would completely, we next door to Chicago, and I kind of understand how Chicago is centered to be the best.
Sure.
They figured out their leaders led.
Yeah, and they were doing it in 19 or 1880.
They did it all the time. They started, and I think we've always had leaders here, and I think they've led us to a position to where we can still say we still need to be led to something different. I think they got us here, and I'm thankful here. And I'm talking about the culture in here. I mean, I think it was built a lot around how the arts and how fine arts used to be done. I think the leaders here need to show what it needs to look like here going forward, and that's all. Really, I think it could change in every way, shape, or form, for music, art, state of living, environments, downtown. Like everything can change and lead can change if we just lead and understand where you want to lead your community or who you can reach where you want to lead them to and work together. And I promise you this shit will look better than ever in 40 years.
I'm here for it. In 40 years, I'll be here for it. Hopefully my son, you be out here leading. Whoever it is, you don't have to lead if you don't want. It's cool. We got leaders. I already know it. That is the great way to wrap us up here. Last question that I got to ask everybody. First off, thank you for sharing everything that you've shared and taking the time to sit down with us. You said it before, lots of gems, everybody watching. So pull those out and sit with them because you're learning from this dude and you're going to take that and apply your own perspective as you continue to build whatever it is that you're building. Remember that. Take those gems. Last but not least, as we leave here, how do we find you? How do we follow you? How do we support you, Fitz the artist, whatever you want supported? How do we do that going forward?
Artbyfitz.org is my website. We can start there. And then DM Art By Fitz. Holla at me, man. You won't catch me too much outside, but you can catch me easy on the DM or email. If you know my number, you know how to reach me.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I'm inside, man.
DM him your email so he can add it to his email list,
fact.
And we can build that offline community.
Yes, sir.
That's what we do. We're emails.
And I will be running something soon, so I can definitely implement exactly what I just said as far as getting emails and getting all that. But please, yes, hit me with all the emails. If you ever rock with me in any form of fashion comment, please send me your email. I'm making a list, and I'm checking it twice for Christmas. So
for Christmas, let's go. Anything that you can share about what you got coming up?
I got.
You can say no.
I had to think. I had to listen. I had to look. I got a lot of NDA jobs. I'm not gonna lie to you.
For sure.
And then and I got a lot of. You know what? I'll just say this, man. My career has grown every year, and it looks like we're still on pace and on track to grow next year. So
I love it. I'm excited for you, bro.
For sure, man. Thank you.
100%. Thank you so much for sitting down and doing this, Fitz. It's been a pleasure, and I know there's a lot more to tap into, but we're going to get into that offline as you build this community, and I'm going to give you my email. So.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me, bro. 100%. I truly appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely. Everybody else, y'all know what it is. New episodes drop every Tuesday on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Go to conversationpeacepod.com for merch, everything else, the archives, all of that good stuff, and you can sign up for the newsletter. Comes out every week, too. Conversation Peace Pod on all the social media platforms, actually just Instagram and TikTok, none of the other ones. But we're moving offline anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah, man. We not doing no more digital.
No more digital.
In person, in hands. We are kissing. We kissing hands and shaking babies all years around, man. Come outside. Come say what's up to us, man. We want to meet the people in person.
We want to meet the people in person, and until we meet you in person, I've been Patrick Armstrong. This has been Fitz. We've been in Pattern in the Stutz building, and shout out to Mike and John, the team in the back. And shout out to Madeline with the flowers.
Sure.
Oh, and also shout out to Day for these dope art pieces. You can find all that stuff in the show notes. And yeah, until we see you in person and kiss and shake. I've been Patrick. And this has been Conversation Piece. See y'all soon.